Hey, how are you?
Hello, mate. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good.
Good. Are you in your own little recording studio there?
Well, this is my recording booth back here, but this is my office, but I'm not in my booth just because the lighting's not great in there.
Oh no, yeah, we want to see your adorable face.
Of course.
Didn't have to go with adorable. That was a weird choice of wording there. If I can't flirt with my guests, what is the point in even doing this?
I fully agree.
I want to chat about Chippendale's Rescue Rangers because, dude, when I found out this was coming out, I got goosebumps in places I didn't even know you could get them. I mean, let's start off quite possibly with the toughest question in your career. Who do you prefer, Chip or Dale?
I honestly, I barely know the difference between them. I wouldn't know the difference until I see it, you know. Sorry.
I mean, they're chipmunks. I'm not going to judge you for not knowing the difference between them two. I'll let you off.
Thank you.
When I heard they're making this film, as I said, I got really excited. I mean, you don't know the difference between Chip and Dale. Did you have to binge watch the series when you got offered the role and lie to your agent? Yeah, great.
I didn't because it was my friend Akiva Schaefer who was directing it, and they just offered it to me, playing an agent, so that was nice. They knew it was very much in my wheelhouse, and I trusted them, and
Did you take inspiration from your agent playing this? And speak carefully because they will see.
I think I probably took inspiration more from agents that I've seen portrayed on television and in films. I've been pretty lucky that I've always liked my agents for the most part, with the exception of one guy way back, or two guys actually way back. But yeah, I've liked all my agents for a while now, and I just got new agents too. Not because I didn't like them, but I just needed to change my scene.
That was a very good answer. Very clever. Dude, the cast in this film is ridiculous. Obviously, you got John Mulaney, Annie Samberg playing the titular chipmunks. You've also got you, Will Arnett, Keegan-Michael Key, J.K. Simmons. It's ridiculous. Who are you most proud to have been in a film with out of all of those guys?
Oh, probably J.K. Simmons. I mean, he's pretty extraordinary. He's one of the great actors of our time, and I've met him. I don't know if I worked with him on it, but he did a sketch. We did a spoof of Oz, the old HBO show, and he was a part of it. I think it was when Jerry Seinfeld hosted back. This is ages ago. But I met him at the show. Super nice guy, and it seems like he's a big fan of comedy. And so yeah, I would love to get to do a face-to-face scene with him one day. But it's good to know we're in the same movie together.
He's one of the few actors that I love, but also equal measure hate as well, because I'm you can do everything so fucking well. You are. And have you seen how ripped he is as well?
Oh, I haven't, no.
Honestly, you could grate cheese off of his abs, which is ridiculous. He's so ripped as well. And again, it's annoying because I'm perfectly spherical. Obviously, the original Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers came out 30 years ago, well over that. Is there a series that you would like to get a reboot from your childhood and make into a movie like Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers?
Oh, wow. Let's see. What did I like in my childhood? And maybe they have done a reboot and I didn't know, but Johnny Quest. I was a fan of that. I think that would be. And maybe it's been done. I think the animated version was rebooted and redone quite a few years ago, but I don't know if they've ever done a live action version of that. But that would be cool.
Are we going into business together? Is that what I'm thinking?
As long as you don't expect too much from me, because I don't know how to put a movie together or write a script or much of anything, Daniel.
We've very much fallen at the first hurdle there, because I know none of that either. Making movies is not as easy as I thought it would be.
No, it's not at all. It's not at all.
Well, we can't talk about, Chip and Dale, Johnny Quest, these series without talking about a little something called Rick and Morty. I'd say they are the equivalent of Chip and Dale at this point. When you get a script for Rick and Morty, do you ever read it and go, what the fuck? I don't know what any of this means. Because in the nicest way, I know I do. Sometimes I'm like, you've lost me on space-time continuum. But then as soon as one of them does a fart or a burp, I'm like, yeah, I'm back on board.
Well, sometimes what happens was sometimes I'll read it and I go, oh my God, how are they going to animate this? But I've seen them do so many extraordinary things already that, I know the fine people who animate the show are more than up to it. But it's always fun to read the scripts because I'm a big sci-fi fan. And so I love it from that perspective. And then obviously it's very funny, but they're just so brilliant and so creative with where they take it. And the premise, that you can kind of go into any universe you want to make up, any reality, it's pretty unlimited. So it's kind of genius that way. I just feel lucky to get to be a part of it,
Speaking of the scripts, I'm assuming Justin does a lot of ad-libbing. Do the rest of you guys ad-lib improv stuff, or are you guys more scripted?
For me, I can only speak for me. I'm pretty scripted. If I find myself wanting to say something a little differently, they're not going to be too strict about it. But they spend so much time and energy sort of perfecting it and getting it where they want it that, for me to assume that I'm going to come in and wing something off the hip that's better than what they've been working on over and over again, occasionally I'll have an idea that I'll throw in there, but it's usually pretty much there on the page to begin with.
We're waiting for this 6th season. At this point, it's not even I want it, I need it. I actually need this. Do you have any idea of what's going to happen in a 6th season, or if any guest stars are going to pop up? Do you know anything going on?
I'm pretty sure we've recorded all of season 6. It's going to be fantastic. I can tell you that. They don't slack off the writing team there, and neither do Dan or Justin. So I don't know who the guest stars are, and I can't really tell you much about the scripts. There's one, I believe it's called Night People, that I'm particularly excited to see, just because it's a little different than. Well, I mean, they're all different, but this one is especially different. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Night People sounds like it could be scary.
Yeah.
As a certified wuss, that worries me.
Yeah. I think it's meant to be a little scary, and I'm not even sure that that's the name of it. I'm realizing that's the name of a band my friend has. So, but it's something related to that. So, but it's better than I'm vague anyway. So.
But the episode, The Beatles and the Rolling Stones, they're also equally great episodes, not named after bands, right? You starred in Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, this full-length feature film based on a TV series. I'm hoping that we might get the same treatment for Rick and Morty. Has there ever been any talks about a Rick and Morty full-length feature film?
I wouldn't be surprised if there hasn't been. I've never been privy to any of those conversations. They made the video game or video games and comic books and all of this other kind of stuff. But in terms of a movie, I haven't heard talk of that.
What would you like to see happen if a movie was given the green light? What would you like to see happen?
Well, obviously, I'd love to play Jerry. But you mean in terms of the plot?
Yeah.
God, I don't know. You'd have to expand an episode, a story, into something that would make sense for that scope. But man, I'm never going to come up with anything that's remotely as interesting as what they come up with. So I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one.
Yeah, I think only Justin and Dan's sort of warped, twisted minds could really come up with something like that. All I know is I'd like to see Jerry become this omnipotent, like powerful entity that can just fucking beat up Rick. That's all I want at this point, because I kind of feel sorry for some of your animated characters you play, like they're just punching bags at some points. I mean, who would you say is the bigger dweeb? Jerry from Rick and Morty or Cyril from Archer?
I think Jerry, in general, I think Jerry's, because, well, it's hard because at points Cyril, he has some skills, and when he's feeling confident, he's a great agent. And Jerry, when he gets to his lowest points in some episodes and it gets really dark, he goes to a different place and finds some inner strength. But I think in general, I would say Jerry is the bigger dweeb than Cyril.
He could never suppress fire quite like Cyril.
Exactly.
It would be foolish of me not to bring up one of the best things that ever came on TV, and that's Saturday Night Live. I mean, how many times do people say more cowbell to you?
Well, not so much anymore, but there was definitely a good stretch where people would bring that sketch up, and I think it will, as long as they show reruns of that time of the show, it will be out there. It's just one of those where everything kind of clicked, and Christopher Walken was perfect for the part. Will Ferrell wrote it. And it just was crazy. And it worked, and it's obviously lived on, which is very nice to feel like you're part of a classic sketch.
It did take every fiber in my being not to have like the bottom of my belly on show and just scream more cowbell and then just leave this Zoom call. Every fiber in my being.
Well, thank you for holding on.
Oh, belly's still fully out. You'll just never know that.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I think you were incredible on SNL both times.
Oh, thank you.
Your raps were great. Merv the Perv is something else. But did you ever write any sketches that you're sort of feeling yourself like, yeah, I got this, and then sort of pitch it to the rest of the writers like, nah?
That happened a few times. Yeah, I remember writing a commercial parody by myself that just basically didn't have any good jokes in it, and reading it at the table on Wednesday, and it was just crickets. It was very embarrassing to present something that you realized as you were reading it was woefully inadequate to bring to the table. So it was very humbling, but I did have some success co-writing things. I mean, I wrote my raps myself, with the exception of Lazy Sunday. That was a group effort, but yeah, I wrote Merv the Perv with a couple of writers, Scott Wenio and Matt Murray, and then I wrote with Chris Kattan, and I think, I don't know if it's Paul Appel. We would write the Bloater Brothers. Oh, no, I wrote the Bloater Brothers with Paula and Jimmy, and then I don't know who I wrote the DeMarco Brothers with. I think that might have been Paula too. And then I wrote Terry Funk, which only made it on like a couple of times with Paula. But yeah, when I would team up, I would fare much better than I did on my own.
Is there any rest for anyone working on SNL? Because obviously all of the sketches are so time sensitive. I'm like, that only happened 4 hours ago. How are they doing a parody of it on live TV right now? What is the turnaround process like backstage? Do you ever just get chill time?
Well, it depends on the show. I mean, it depends on how many sketches you're in the show, but the turnaround time is basically from Monday to Saturday. We pitch ideas on Monday, and then pitch the ideas to the host, whoever the host is going to be, and then people start writing on Monday, write all day and into the night on Tuesday. We read it on Wednesday, and then rehearse it on Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday morning. But yeah, if something big like something political or whatever happens, that's usually sort of a several hands on deck sort of working that. It might be given to one writer, and they'll do it, maybe bring somebody else on. But yeah, there's when things happen quickly like that the show is able to respond to, that's sort of a little bit of a different category.
What I can never get my head around is that the costume designers and the set designers, like how hard they must have to work when you go, oh, by the way, we're going to put Donald Trump, I don't know, in a volcano tomorrow. Okay, good luck. Like, it's incredible the work they do.
It is incredible, and really they don't know what the show is going to even roughly look like until Wednesday night, when the sketches have been picked, like when Lauren and the team say, this is what we're going to do. And, you know, and then the person who wrote the sketch, usually somebody from the writing staff, maybe with a cast member, they go and meet with the costume designers and the set designers and the director and all of that, sort of discuss their ideas for it. And then all of the designers get to work. And, you know, sometimes it's a sketch that it's a recurring sketch. So we know what the set is, we know what the costumes are in general. But yeah, they're very fast. It's, you know, it's all geared for a very quick turnaround. And some of the people have been there. I mean, many of the people on the design staff have been there forever. I mean, maybe even from the very beginning of the show, I think. And with the costume department, I know those guys have been there for, not since the beginning, but for many, many years.
I have even more respect for them, knowing that they got Elon Musk in a Wario costume within about 3 days. I have even more respect for him. It's incredible. We spoke briefly about Merv. I mean, he had a brother played by Johnny Knoxville. He had a cousin played by Colin Farrell. I think a brother-in-law played by Andy Roddick. I mean, what icons. Who has been your favorite guest host to work with on SNL?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I often say Juliana Margulies comes to mind. She was, I think, in my first or second season, and I really didn't have a sense of her as an actor. I knew who she was. I knew she was on ER, and you think of her as this great dramatic actor. And she came on, and she was just so game and so willing to be silly, and she was just, I thought, made such good comedic choices, which, you know, I wasn't expecting. And she was just, you know, she's lovely, and she was so sweet and cool. So she was pretty great. You know, but there's so many people that are so exciting to have on there. Colin Firth, Colin Farrell, all the Collins. Ian McKellen, that was extraordinary. Kate Winslet, so many, you know, and I'm missing hundreds.
Well, no, go on, list them all. I've got time. Speaking of favourites, you've also been beaten up a lot on SNL by the likes of Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Jackie Chan. I think Robert De Niro may have killed you on SNL.
Yeah.
Who beats you up the best?
I mean, probably Jackie Chan. You know, he's pretty good. He's hard to beat. But you know, doing that sketch with Dwayne Johnson and the other wrestlers, I mean, that was amazing. You know, I think Big Show was the one that lifted me up in the air and turned me around. And you know, you kind of just had to trust those guys that they knew what they were doing, and of course they did. And yeah, that was crazy. That was fun. But yeah, and then to get beaten up by Jackie Chan or Robert De Niro, I think Christopher Walken too. You know, it's an honor. It's an honor.
And luckily for them, it was scripted, because you could have easily taken them.
I don't know about that.
Now we've got to talk about the best thing to have come out of the whole SNL process, and that is Dr. Spaceman. I mean, what a legend that man is. What has been your favorite moment or quote line from Dr. Spaceman?
Oh boy, there's so many good ones. I guess one of my favorite moments, and I don't remember the specifics of it, is when I run in covered in blood, and I'm it's a misdirect on what you think I'm going to talk about, but it's really something else. And I really always like that one, even though obviously I barely remember it.
Wasn't it that you came back from a Halloween party?
Yeah, I think you're right. But then I revealed that actually it was real blood because something had happened or I'd done something. But so many good lines. We have no way of knowing where the human heart is located or something like that. will science ever find a cure for a woman's mouth? You can only, I don't know, I don't know how much of this you can get away with now, but I mean, when you have Tina and Robert Carlott, but Tina sort of being, yeah, let's say that, let's do that. It's making fun of a particular type of man, obviously, but so many good lines.
Was he always in mind of being a recurring character all the way through? Because I know he started, like, was it episode 1 he was introduced as like a joke from Tracy who was like, I need to see Dr. Spaceman and all that stuff. Was he always with the intention of being running throughout the entire series, or?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I suspect that there was an intention to use him more than once, but I honestly don't know. Yeah, you would have to ask Tina or Robert.
Oh well, I'll drop him a text now.
Yeah.
Hopefully, this is the end of COVID-19. But I'd love to know, how do you think Dr. Spaceman would have handled coronavirus?
I don't know. I mean, he probably would have worn a mask in the wrong place or not worn a mask at all. He would have probably been one of the people giving ivermectin, prescribing ivermectin to people. Just any terrible choice in terms of the way that it would be prevented or treated, he would be on board for that, I think.
And it still wouldn't have been the worst advice that we actually got about COVID-19, would it? So
probably not. No.
Chris, thank you so much for chatting to me, man. It's so cool to just pick your mind about Rick and Morty and 30 Rock and Chip and Dale. It's really cool, man. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Daniel. And can I just plug something real quick?
Of course you can.
I've got a movie coming out on Netflix on May 13th called Senior Year. It stars Rebel Wilson and Angourie Rice. And I play Rebel's dad, and it's a really fun movie. I feel really proud to have been a part of it, and I think people are going to dig it. It's a fun movie.
Great, man. Well, I will 100% watch it just because I love you and your adorable face, as I mentioned at the beginning of this chat. I never forgot how adorable it was.
Oh, you're so kind. You're very adorable yourself, Daniel.
Oh, thank you. Should we just stop recording now and just flirt a little more?
Why not?
Yeah, and stop recording. Done.